All right, so the new material we covered today in class, these are your ratio and proportion notes. So you should be able to print these off of Blackboard. If you go to, let's see, let me look here. You're gonna go to daily content on Blackboard, and then you're gonna find day 1. Okay, so this will have all the stuff that you need. So the first thing we talked about is what is a ratio? So one thing we did is we came up with some words that people thought of when they thought of ratio. And we got things like comparison, fraction. We came up with the different forms, like you can use the colon, you can use 2, you can use a fraction. And so we talked about some different definitions of ratio. And so after looking through some of these definitions, we can see that different textbooks are going to do this in different ways. So let me just show you a couple of these. Now you don't need to write any of these down. So here's our first definition. A ratio is a comparison of two numbers, A and B, by division, with B not equal to 0. And then we see these 3 forms that we're familiar with. You can write it A to B, A colon B, or A over B. So this came out of the old 1351 textbook. I like this definition, but it does restrict you to 2 items. And the reason B can't be 0 is because of this fraction right here. If we are going to represent it as a fraction, we typically don't divide by 0. All right, so that is a very detailed definition of ratio. And then here's another one. Again, don't write anything down yet. A ratio is a relationship between 2 amounts or quantities. So this one's really vague. Doesn't really give a lot of detail. And that is also from a Math for Elementary Teacher book. All right, here is another one. This is from a pre-algebra book. The ratio is the quotient or comparison of 2 quantities with the same unit. So all of these are good definitions, but the one that we are going to use is going to be this one. So we're going to say a ratio is a comparison of 2 or more quantities. All right, so I'm going to take a second and I'm going to write that one down. Oops, that was a little bit messy. So a ratio is a comparison of 2 or more quantities. So I like this definition because it gets the idea of it being a comparison, but we're allowed to do more than 2. So forms of a ratio, we can write A to B. We can write A colon B, or we can write A over B. Now if we want to compare more than 2 items, this one kind of goes out the window because we only have places for 2 things. But if we wanted to compare 3 items, we could say A to B to C, or we could go A colon B colon C. So we could put as many items as we want in there, but it does take out the fraction representation. All right, so next we're going to look at some examples of ratios. So this first one comes from your online homework, and this one is the ratio of cats to dogs at a shelter is 5 to 9. All right, so we're given a ratio here, cats to dogs, and whatever order it's given in the problem, that tells you what order these are in. So for every 5 cats, there are 9 dogs. So a couple of things I could ask you to do. I could ask you to find the ratio of cats to total. Okay, so in this case, cats, we know that's 5. But to get the total, this is just dogs. So to get the total, we would have to add those together. So cats to total would be 5 to 14. Or maybe I ask you to find the ratio of dogs to total. Okay, so the total is going to stay the same. It's still going to be 14, but this time we're taking the number for dogs, so that would be 9 to 14. Another thing I might ask you to do is I might say if there are X cats and Y dogs, find the ratio of cats to total. Okay, so very similar to part A, but we don't know how many cats, so it's X cats and Y dogs. So we'll start with cats. We put that one first, so that would be X. And then we want total. So what we did up here is we added the 5 and the 9 together. So here we will add the X and the Y together, and that will give us X plus Y. So that would be our ratio of cats to total. Now for my second one, see if I can write small enough to fit this. I'm going to use an example from your lab manual. So this is 3-bean salad on handout 3. Okay, so this is the 3rd page of your lab manual. So I'm going to pull this up real quick and we're going to take a look at it. All right, so we're just going to do this first example. So normally what I do is I hand out a bag of beans, right, and we do this hands-on. So we've got red beans, black beans, and black-eyed peas. So here we see a ratio. We're going to write this as a ratio of red beans to black-eyed peas to total. So I'm going to copy this first salad down. I'm supposed to do 4 red, and then I have half as many black-eyed peas, as red beans, I'll say. And then I'm given 10 beans in all. All right, so that takes care of that page. I'll pull that out now. All right, so if I want to write the ratio for this salad, I want to keep it in the order that they ask me to on the handout. So I want to do the number of red to number of black to number of peas, so that's black-eyed peas, to total. All right, so I want to make sure I put things in the correct order. So as I do this, I'm going to go ahead and bring my colons down. That way I can put things wherever I want. So I know I have 4 red, so I'm going to put 4 in the first spot. I know I have half as many black-eyed peas as red beans. So if I have 4 red, that means I'm going to have half that, or 2 black-eyed peas. So I want to be careful. That goes in the 3rd spot, so I want to put the 2 there. I'm also told that I have 10 beans in all, so 10 total. So then to get this missing number, I'm going to go 10 minus 4 minus 2. That's going to leave me 4 beans left over, so 4 black. So this would be your ratio. Now one thing I could do is I could reduce it. All of these numbers are even, so I can divide them all by 2. And that would give me the ratio 2 to 2 to 1 to 5. So these are considered to be the same ratio. Just one is reduced. Okay, so for every 5